It's now time for the Arch Manning era at Texas. Arch being handed the keys to the Texas football program is finally on the horizon, as he's for sure going to be the starter this fall. There's been a lot and will continue to be a lot of talk around the 19-year-old prodigy, as people are trying to figure out just how good he's going to be. But I think he's already shown a lot for me to be convinced that he'll be a really good quarterback, not only in college, but eventually in the NFL. There's been a lot made of his undeserved hype, and I get it. He's only started 2 games in college, and when he came out of high school in 2023, he was the highest rated player according to 24/7 Sports. But many people point to the lack of high school competition in high school as another reason why he was overrated, and I get that as well. But it's not like he's acting like he's worthy of all the praise that he gets. He knows there's work to be done in order to change that narrative. And one thing I really like about him already is that I think not only Arch, but the Manning family has handled the situation as perfectly as you can so far. They made it known that Arch was willing to wait and develop under offensive guru Steve Sarkisian, as Sark has had a track record of coaching and developing quarterbacks to play at a high level. The Mannings understood what Arch would be walking into at Texas, which was a deep quarterback room at the time, which had Arch at QB3 during his freshman season. Not only did the experience of Peyton, Eli, and Archie help out in this situation, but also the humble attitude of the family as well. There was never any sense of entitlement from the Mannings or Arch specifically, and that's one of the factors I looked at when trying to evaluate how successful this guy is going to be. Despite his NIL valuation being at a projected over $6 million, Archie specifically made sure that Arch didn't get fully involved into the NIL world until he was the starter at Texas. And you have recent interviews with Arch saying that his fame thus far has been undeserved due to him not doing anything of significance yet in his college career. You don't often hear a 19-year-old in this position be this self-aware and this humble about himself, and that just goes to show you the great environment he grew up in. For me, this means that Arch has a different level of focus and determination that he exercises behind the scenes in order to be as good as a player as he has the potential to be. Most guys of his caliber would have easily transferred just because of the microwave society we live in 2025. Everyone just wants everything right now at the palm of their hands. No one's willing to be patient anymore. No one's willing to put in the work necessary, even if that means it might take a while. Just because of the NIL space, just because of the transfer portal, it's made it so easy and accessible for guys to just give up on the process and start over elsewhere. But Arch sticking it out is why I think he's different. As far as on the field, Arch has already shown signs of what he's able to do. He officially started 2 games for Texas this year, but he pretty much was the starter for 3 games, let's face it. The 3rd game being the game Quinn Ewers actually got hurt in against UTSA early in the 2nd quarter. In that game, Arch showed a little bit of everything. He showed off his deep ball ability to make throws under immense pressure, and of course, famously showing off his running ability that is rare with someone with the last name Manning. In that game, he accounted for 5 total touchdowns and introduced himself to the world officially. He then started the next 2 games in place of Ewers, and he played fairly well for someone making their first 2 collegiate starts, as he led Texas to wins over ULM and Mississippi State. No, not the greatest competition, but he did show a lot of good stuff. He did have 2 interceptions in the ULM game specifically, and that's to be expected of a young guy, but that definitely didn't rattle him. He responded great after a slower start in both the ULM game and the Mississippi State game for that matter, and he ended up with 806 total yards, 8 passing touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, and 2 more rushing touchdowns on the ground in that 3-game stretch where he was pretty much the guy. He played sparingly the rest of the season, mainly used in his 16-wheeler package, and it worked for a large part of the season, but as time went along, the success of that package kind of wore off and it got a little bit stale. I wish Sark would have been more creative with the package and allow Arch to throw a little bit more out of it, especially when Arch did show throughout the early part of the season that he was able to operate the offense full menu. Nonetheless, he is the guy now at Texas. The Arch era is underway, and I'm so excited to see what the future holds for the guy. I just wanted to make this video because it kind of puts into perspective for me specifically one of the big issues, not only in sports but in life in general, and that's we build a guy up just to tear him down. And there's been a lot of hype, there's been a lot of praise over Arch Manning, and what if he comes out and he struggles a little bit? What if he comes out and he doesn't live up to the Manning hype? Are we just gonna resort to saying this guy's terrible, he's been overrated, and blah blah blah? Or are we gonna say, hey, let's give this guy some time, this is his first full year starting? But then we do have guys on the other hand who says this guy is overrated and he's not even good to begin with, but he's put up stats whenever he does get the chance to start and put all those narratives to bed. So, I mean, we're going to see what Arch is really capable of. I think there's no doubt he'll be great. It'll be his third year in the Steve Sarkisian system, so I think there's no doubt that he'll be just fine. Y'all let me know who Arch Manning kind of reminds y'all of. I know comparison is to Thief of Joy, but for some reason, Arch gives me like a Joe Burrow vibe. I'm not really sure why. I can't really pinpoint why, but if I'm off on that, y'all let me know. But if y'all kind of see where I'm coming from, y'all let me know as well. Who does Arch Manning remind y'all of, and what do y'all see in store for his future? But other than that, please like, comment, share, subscribe. This is CFB Enthusiasts, where we bleed college football, and we would love for y'all to join the community. We're going to have a lot more videos like this in the future, so if you enjoy them, please give me a like, please subscribe, please share this to a friend or family member that bleeds college football as well, and we'll be back. Have a good one.